Well, it should be significant. Yeah, Blackwell, and as you know, we guide one quarter at a time. And but what I could tell you about is this is a giant leap in AI, and it was designed for trillion per AI models. And this is, as you know, we're already at 2 trillion parameters. Model sizes are growing about every 6 months, and the amount of processing between the size of the model, the amount of data is growing. And so the ability for these data centers to keep up with these large models really depends on the technology that we bring to them.
When Jensen Huang says something like this, people pay attention. Not because he's dramatic, but because he almost never speaks in absolutes. As the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen has a front row seat to every major AI build happening right now. From OpenAI and Google to Tesla, Meta, and the Chinese hyperscalers. He sees where the compute is going. He sees who's scaling intelligently and who's just throwing hardware at the problem. So when Jensen Huang warns that if Elon pulls this off, it'll be game over for the entire industry, he isn't talking about cars. He isn't even talking about robots in the narrow sense. He's talking about vertical AI dominance. The kind that doesn't just build models but controls the entire feedback loop from data to deployment. And Tesla is closer to achieving that than anyone else. Tesla isn't competing in the same game anymore. Most AI companies today live in a narrow slice of the stack. They train models, sell APIs, license software, or ship tools that sit on top of someone else's hardware. Even the most powerful labs, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, are fundamentally software-first organizations. Tesla is different. Tesla builds the models, the hardware, the sensors, the chips, the robots, and the real-world environments those systems learn inside. That changes everything. If AI progress were only about smarter algorithms, Tesla wouldn't necessarily win. But AI progress is increasingly about who can close the loop between perception, action, and learning the fastest. Tesla has that loop fully internal. Every Tesla on the road is a rolling data generator. Every mile driven feeds perception models. Every mistake becomes training data. Every update gets deployed instantly across a massive physical fleet. No simulation can match that scale. That's why Jensen's warning matters. Nvidia thrives when AI demand spreads across the ecosystem. But Tesla represents something else entirely. A company that could eventually consume enormous compute internally without selling it outward, because it uses that intelligence directly in the real world.
And so the Blackwell is designed also for incredibly fast inferencing. And inference used to be about recognition. Now inferencing, as you know, is about generation of information, generative AI. And so whenever you're talking to ChatGPT and it's generating information for you or a picture for you or recognizing something and then drawing something for you, that generation is a brand new inferencing technology, is really complicated and requires a lot of performance. And so Blackwell is designed for large models, for generative AI, and we designed it to fit into any data center. So it's air-cooled, liquid-cooled, x86, or this new revolutionary processor we designed called Grace Blackwell Superchip. And then, supports InfiniBand data centers like we used to, but we also now support a brand new type of data center, Ethernet. We're going to bring AI to Ethernet data. So the number of ways that you could deploy Blackwell is way, way higher than Hopper generation. So I'm excited about that.
I want to talk about some analysts have brought up the idea that as we move over towards inferencing from the training, that there may be some in-house processors from companies, those made from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, may be more suited for the actual inferencing. I guess, how does that impact NVIDIA then?
Well, inferencing used to be easy. When people started talking about inference, generative AI didn't exist. And now generative AI is of course, is about prediction, but it's about prediction of the next token or prediction of the next pixel or prediction frame. And all of that is complicated. And generative AI is also used for understanding in order to generate the properly, you have to understand the context and what is called memory. And so now the memory size is incredibly large, and you have to have memory. You have to be able to generate the next token really, really fast. It takes a whole lot of tokens to make an image. It takes a ton of tokens to make a video, a lot of tokens to be able to reason about a particular task so that it can make a plan. And so generative AI era really made inference a million times more complicated. And as you know, the number of chips that tended for inference kind of fell by the wayside, and now people are talking about building new chips.
Why autonomous driving is only the first layer. Most people still think Tesla's AI story begins and ends with self-driving cars. That's a misunderstanding. Autonomous driving is not the product. It's the training ground. Driving is one of the hardest real-world AI problems that exists. It requires perception, prediction, planning, long-horizon reasoning, and constant real-time decision-making under uncertainty. If you can solve driving, you don't just get taxis. You get a general-purpose embodied intelligence platform. That's what Tesla has been building. Full self-driving isn't impressive because it moves cars without drivers. It's impressive because it proves Tesla can deploy end-to-end neural networks that operate reliably in chaotic physical environments. Once that works, the same intelligence stack can be reused. Robots don't need steering wheels, but they do need vision, balance, object understanding, task sequencing, and adaptability. Those capabilities are already being learned at scale inside Tesla's driving models. Autonomy on wheels is the prototype. Autonomy on legs is the multiplier.
You know, the versatility of NVIDIA's architecture makes it possible for people to continue to innovate and create these amazing new AIs. And then now Blackwell's coming.
Advantage, even as the market sort of shifts to inferencing.
We have a great position in inference because inference is just a really complicated, and the software stack is complicated. The type of models that people use is complicated. There's so many different types. It's just going to be a giant market opportunity for us. The vast majority of the world's inferencing today, as people are experiencing in their data centers and on the web, vast majority of the inferencing today is done on Nvidia. And I expect that to continue.
You said on the call a couple of times that you'll be supply constrained for both Hopper and then Blackwell chip well until next year because of the vast demand that's out there. What can you do about that? Are there any sort of levers you can pull to help increase supply?
Hopper demand grew throughout this quarter after we announced Blackwell. And so that kind of tells you how much demand there is out there. People want to deploy these data centers right now. They want to put our GPUs to work right now, start making money and start saving money. And so that demand is just so strong. It's really important to take a step back. That what we build is not a GPU chip. We call it Blackwell and we call it GPU, but we're really building AI factories. These AI factories and GPUs and really complicated memory. The systems are really complicated. It's connected by NVLink. There's an NVLink switch. There's InfiniBand NICs. And then now we have Ethernet switches and Ethernet NICs. And all of this connected together with this incredibly complicated spine called NVLink. And then the amount of software that it takes to build all this and run all this is incredible. And so these AI factories are essentially what we build. We build it as a holistic unit, as a holistic architecture and platform, but then we disaggregate it so that our partners could take it and put it into data centers. And every single cloud has slightly different architectures and different stacks, and our stacks and our architecture can now deeply integrate into theirs, but everybody's. So we build it as an AI factory. We then disaggregate it so that everybody can have AI factories. This is just an incredible thing, and we do this at very high volume. It's just very, very hard to do. And so every component, every part of our data center is the most complex, and so it's sensible that almost everything is constrained.
Jensen, I want to ask about the cloud providers versus the other industries that you said are getting the generative AI game or getting NVIDIA chips. You had mentioned that in comments in the actual release, and then we heard from press that 40%, mid 40% of data center revenue comes from those cloud providers.
Structure that he's building. And one of the things that's really revolutionary about the version 12 of full self-driving is that it's an end-to-end generative model. and it learns from watching videos, surround video, and it learns about how to end-to-end and using generative AI predict the path and the how to steer and how to steer the car. And so the technology is really revolutionary, and the work that they're doing is incredible. So I gave you two examples. A startup company that we version has built a supercomputer for generating molecules, understanding proteins and generating molecules for drug discovery. The list goes on. I mean, we can, and just so many different areas of people who are now recognizing that we now have software and AI model that can understand and learn almost any language. The language of English, of course, but the language of images and video and chemicals and protein and even physics.
Optimus is where the industry breaks. This is where Jensen's quote becomes existential for competitors. Optimus isn't just another humanoid robot project. Plenty of companies are building humanoids. What they don't have is Tesla's data advantage and Tesla's AI infrastructure. Tesla doesn't need to invent intelligence from scratch for Optimus. It can transfer massive portions of its perception and planning stack directly from vehicles to robots. That shortens timelines dramatically. More importantly, Tesla doesn't need a customer to justify deployment. Once Optimus becomes economically useful, even at a basic level, Tesla can deploy robots inside its own factories, warehouses, and logistics chains first. That creates a closed-loop economy where robots build more robots, guided by AI systems trained on real work. No external customer, no integration friction, no enterprise sales cycle. That's terrifying for the rest of the industry. The economic asymmetry. No one can match. Here's the core reason Jensen Huang's warning carries weight. Tesla's AI compounds economically in a way others can't replicate. A traditional AI company spends billions training a model, then hopes customers adopt it. Tesla spends billions training intelligence that immediately turns into revenue-generating physical assets. A robo-taxi doesn't just demonstrate AI capability. It produces cash every day it operates. A humanoid robot doesn't just show technical progress. It replaces labor permanently. That means Tesla can reinvest AI gains into more compute, more data, more deployment, faster than anyone else. This is a flywheel no software-only company can spin. Why Nvidia is watching closely. Nvidia benefits when everyone needs more GPUs. But Tesla is unusual. Tesla designs its own AI chips. It controls its own training infrastructure. It doesn't need to sell intelligence. It uses it. If Tesla succeeds at scale, it becomes a customer Nvidia can't fully monetize, and a competitor that doesn't need to participate in the open AI marketplace at all. That's why Jensen's statement isn't hype. It's strategic awareness. Tesla doesn't just threaten automakers. It threatens robotics startups. It threatens AI service providers. It threatens labor-intensive industries. It even threatens parts of the AI hardware ecosystem. Because Tesla's goal isn't to sell AI, it's to replace entire categories of work with it.
And to be able to generate almost anything. And so it's basically like machine translation. And that capability is now being deployed at scale in so many different industries.
Jensen, just one more quick last question. I'm glad you talked about the auto business and what you're seeing there. You mentioned that automotive is now the largest vertical enterprise within data center. You talked about the Tesla business, but what is that all about? Is it self-driving among other automakers too? Other functions that automakers are using within data center? Help us understand that a little bit better.
Well, Tesla is far ahead in cars. But every single car someday will have to have autonomous capability. It's safer, it's more convenient, it's more, and in order to do that, it is now very well known, very well understood that learning from video directly is the most effective way to train these models. We used to train based on images that are labeled. We would say this is a car, or this is a sign, this is a road, and we would label that manually. It's incredible. And now we just put video right into the car and let the car by itself. And this technology is very similar to the technology of large language models, but it requires just an enormous training facility. And because there's video, the data rate of video, the amount of data of video is so high. Well, The same approach that's used for physics, the physical world, from videos that is used for self-driving cars is essentially the same AI used for grounding large language models to understand the world of physics. So technologies that are like Sora, which is just incredible, and other technologies, VO from Google, incredible. The ability to generate video that makes sense, that are conditioned by human, that needs to learn from video. And so the next generation of AIs need to be grounded in physical AI, needs to understand the world. And the best way to teach these AIs how the physical world behaves is through video, just watching tons and tons and tons of video. The combination of this multimodality training capability is going to really require a lot of computing demand in the years to come.
As always, super cool stuff and great to be able to talk to you. Dan and I really appreciate it. Jensen Huang, everybody, founder and CEO of Nvidia.
For the world. And it is very clear now that we're about $150 billion of AI infrastructure to a journey of trillions of dollars of infrastructure. And so we've got a lot of AI to build.
I was here last year, different feel, different vibe. Felt there was a limitation to it. What happened in 1 year?
Well, in 1 year, we made AI. It's smarter now. It can reason. We made AI more useful. Just about every industry and every company. All these companies are AI into their systems and into their products. And we've got a lot more energy and a lot more land and just more desire.
So since Nvidia has been public, which was in 1999. Same rock.
Oh boy.
Okay, now Nvidia's total return for its shareholders has been a compounded 37%. Just think about that. What to every pension fund if they invested in Nvidia as an IPO, the amount of successes we have with everybody's retirement. This BlackRock's annualized total return has been 21%. Not so bad for a financial services company, but hail. So but that is just a really great indication of Jensen's leadership, the positioning of Nvidia, and also it is a great statement about what the world believes in the future of Nvidia. So Jensen, congratulations on that journey, and I know we have many more years of that journey ahead of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My only regret was IPO. After the IPO, I wanted to buy my parents something nice, and so I sold Nvidia stock, valuation of $300 million. The company was at a valuation of $300 million, and I bought them a Mercedes S-Class. It is the most expensive car in the world. They regret it.
Do they still have it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they still have it, yeah.
Good. Let me go into the subject matter now, but I just want to say, the debate on AI, about how it's going to change the world and the global economy. Today, I want to talk about how AI add to the world economy and how AI can increasingly become a foundational technology that everyone in this room can be utilizing, enhancing our lives, enhancing the lives of everyone in the world. And we need to talk about how it's going to reshape productivity, labor, infrastructure across virtually every other. But importantly, how it's going to reshape the world, and how can more segments of the world benefit from, and how can we ensure that we have a broadening of the global economy, not a narrowing of the global economy. And I can't think of another person who has a view on not just what AI is, but the infrastructure around it, the infrastructure that is necessary to build around it. And because so many of the major hyperscalers are utilizers of what Nvidia creates, and the whole engagement around the infrastructure around AI, the potential of AI, I think we have a great voice to listen to this afternoon. So Jensen, once again, thank you. This is his first time here at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And I know a really busy schedule, so thank you for taking that time.
I appreciate that.
So let me go right into it. Why AI has the potential to be that significant engine of growth? And what makes this moment, this technology, different than technology cycles?
Yeah, this is first of all, when you think about AI and you're interacting with AI in all these different ways, ChatGPT, Gemini, of course, using Anthropic, Claude, of course, and the magical things that it could do, it's helpful to reason back to fundamentally what is happening to the computing stack. This is a platform shift. A platform is something where applications live. And this is a platform shift like the platform shift to PCs. New applications were developed to run on a new type of computer.
Why game over isn't hyperbole. If Tesla pulls this off, the industry doesn't collapse overnight. But the balance of power shifts permanently. Once embodied, AI becomes cheap, scalable, and self-improving. Every industry built around human labor faces pressure. Manufacturing, logistics, construction, agriculture, even parts of healthcare, all become automation-first domains. Companies that rely on incremental efficiency gains won't survive that transition. Only vertically integrated AI-native organizations will. Tesla is currently the only company attempting that transition at full scale. That's why Jensen Huang's warning matters. It's not about Elon Musk's personality. It's about architecture, about feedback loops, about who owns the intelligence and the world it operates in. If Tesla succeeds, the rules change, and everyone else will be playing catch-up in a game that's already been decided.